So, I printed these notes so you would have all the rules here. Let R be a rational function, okay? All of this should just look kind of familiar. This is just the definition of a polynomial that we've seen before. So we've said yesterday that a rational function is just dividing two polynomials. Okay, so polynomial divided by a polynomial. Vertical asymptotes are of the form x equals a number, where that number is a 0 at the denominator. Okay, so yesterday we were finding the domain, and towards the end, when we looked at the graphs, we talked about how that domain value was because we had a vertical asymptote there. So the domains, the numbers x can't equal, those become your vertical asymptotes. Horizontal asymptotes are a little less straightforward. It's always going to be y equals a number. Okay, to find that number, you have to divide all the terms by the greatest degree. Okay, then we look at different scenarios. If they have the same power of x on top and bottom, we end up dividing leading coefficients. If the top power is smaller, it ends up being 0. And if you look on Math Excel, it gives you like all these rules to memorize. I think that's a little bit confusing. So I would rather just kind of talk through these as we go and try to come up with a way that we can look at it and figure out the horizontal asymptote without just memorizing a lot of rules. Oblique asymptotes, the third type, happens when you divide these polynomials and you get a line. So when we get x to the first. So oblique only happen when the degree of the numerator is 1 more than the degree of the denominator. And to find it, we have to do long division. We probably won't get to too many of those yet. We may try 1 or 2 today, but we will look at more of those later. So, first, recap from yesterday. Domains. How do we find the domain? We say the denominator can't equal 0. Square root plus or minus, so x can't be positive or negative 2. If you wrote the interval, it's everything but that. Negative infinity to negative 2, union negative 2 to 2, union 2 to infinity. Does anyone have any predictions what the vertical asymptotes are on this line, or on this function? What do you think they would be? There's 2 of them. X equals 2 and negative 2. Those numbers that x can't equal in your domain, those are your vertical asymptotes. So vertical asymptotes, really just the domain piece we were doing yesterday. All right, B, what's my domain? Union. Right, because x minus 1 can't be 0. So x can't be 1. So what do you think the vertical asymptote will be on this one? X equals 1 is our vertical asymptote. All right. You guys do C and D. See if you can tell me the domain on those 2. So on the first one, did you get x can't be negative 7 or 3? What would the interval look like if you wrote that? Good. All right, E. So x to the 4th minus 1 can't be 0. X to the 4th can't equal 1. If you take a 4th root, what do you have to put in front of that? So it can't be positive or negative 1. What would the interval be? And then 4. Alright. Are we doing okay with domains? Okay. So now let's start finding the asymptotes. Vertical asymptote is just like finding the domain. The only difference is you're going to say x equals because it's the line. So to find the vertical, we set the denominator equal to 0. X squared is equal to 1/4. To get rid of a square, we square root plus and minus. What's the square root of 1? Square root of 4. So we have 2 vertical asymptotes, positive and negative 1/2. Asymptotes are lines. You have to give me the equation. If you just say plus and minus 1/2, you're going to get it wrong. You have to say the x equals. So that's the line that we would draw dashed on our paper. Okay, so now, you can't have both a horizontal and an oblique. It'll be one or the other. Here's what I want you to do to decide. All I want you to do is divide the highest power of x on top and bottom. Okay, so I'm only looking at the leading terms for the top and the leading term for the bottom. What's 8x squared divided by 4x squared? 2. That's just a number. If it's y equals a number, it's horizontal. So my horizontal asymptote is y equals 2. Your asymptote for horizontal and oblique is kind of saying what would you get if you divided these and ignored the remainder. We did long division already, right? That's what this is doing. It's saying if I divide these, 8x squared divided by 4x squared is 2. Then I multiply. Change my signs. Okay, I have a negative x plus 4 left. Can you do negative x divided by 4x squared? No, the rest of it's just my remainder. So my quotient was 2. It's just the quotient when you ignore the remainder. Shortcut is just divide those highest powers of x. So let's look at B. Can you tell me what my vertical asymptote will be? How do I write it? X equals negative 4. All right, horizontal or oblique, we just divide our highest powers of x. So if you take 3x divided by x, we get 3. So that's a number, so it's horizontal, y equals 3. Those x's cancel out, we just have a horizontal line. So far, so good? All right. Let's look at another one. How do we find vertical asymptotes? Set the denominator equal to 0. So x squared is negative 1. When you square root plus and minus, what's the square root of negative 1? I. Can we graph that? No. So my vertical, there is none. If you get an imaginary, we don't have a vertical asymptote. All right. To decide horizontal or oblique, we divide our highest powers of x. If I do that, I get x over x squared. I can reduce, I get 1 over x, but can I get a number out of that? Can you take 1 and divide it by x? No. So that's a horizontal one. but it's just y equals 0. It's saying if you try to do the long division, you can't do the first step. You can't do 1 divided by x, so you just get 0. So if you end up with x's on the bottom when you do that, it's an automatic y equals 0. D, how do we find the vertical? And take out an x. Factor in the x minus 2, x plus 1. So what do we get? So we have 3 vertical asymptotes on this. Horizontal or oblique. What happens if you do 3x to the 4th divided by x cubed? We get 3x. Is that a horizontal line? No. That's going to be oblique because it still has an x in it. Okay. Unfortunately, a line is y equals mx plus b. Did I have the whole line there? No. I just had the first step. So for an oblique, you're going to have to do a little bit of your long division. Your numerator goes underneath. If you want, you could include missing, like zeros for missing powers of x. I don't always do it for all of them, but if I have a missing power between two terms, I usually put it in just to help me a little bit. And my denominator goes out front. Now, the good news. I'm just trying to get a line. Y equals mx plus b. I don't have to do the whole long division. Okay, just enough to get that line. So remember our long division. What is 3x to the 4th divided by x cubed? So we have our 3x. Then you multiply. 3x times all of that. So 3x to the 4th minus 3x cubed minus 6x squared. Is everyone with me right now? What questions do we have so far? We're close. Remember in long division we subtract this off. So we distribute a negative. And then we combine like terms. So these cancel. This gives me a 3x cubed plus 5x squared. We are one step away. What is 3x cubed divided by x cubed? 3. That is all I need. I have my line, mx plus b. I don't have to finish the long division because your asymptote is basically the quotient ignoring the remainder. So I don't have to finish. I just have to get that part. Question? Do you remember doing long division before? We've done it not that long ago. Let's try a couple more. You won't have any obliques on your homework today. Okay, so none of those yet. Maybe tomorrow. Okay. For this one, for my verticals, we set the bottom equal to 0. So that factors into x minus 2, x minus 3. So my vertical asymptotes are x equals 2 and 3. All right, then we have to decide horizontal or oblique. If you take x cubed over x squared, are you still going to have an x left?
Yep.
Yes. So that means it is which type? Oblique. Alright, so we're going to do our long division. So we have x cubed, we can put in 0x squared and 0x if you want, otherwise you just have to be careful when you add like terms. Okay, then remember, it's 3 steps. You divide. What's x cubed over x squared? X. Then you multiply. You take x times the x squared minus 5x plus 6. You get x cubed minus 5x squared plus 6x. Then we subtract. So we run a negative here. X cubed minus x cubed cancels. We have 5x squared and 6x minus 8. We are one step away. We're back to dividing. What is 5x squared divided by x squared? That is all I need. My oblique is y equals x plus 5. So it's long division, but you don't have to finish. Just enough to get our line. That one okay? Let's look at this one. My vertical. If I set x to the 5th equal to 0, do the 5th root, it's odd, you don't need plus or minus, you just get x equals 0. To decide horizontal or oblique, we divide our leading powers of x. If you take x to the 8th divided by x to the 5th, what do you get? Is that a line? Nope, so there is no horizontal or oblique. When you divide, it's not linear, so we don't have any more asymptotes. Asymptotes are only lines. Any questions about finding these? Last thing I want to mention, nothing new. We've done it with lots of different things, lines, quadratics, polynomials. How do you find an x-intercept? Every time? Mm-hmm. How do you find a y-intercept? So intercepts haven't changed. Same thing, we can do it with these functions. Tomorrow we will be finding some more of those, but I really just wanted to kind of get through some basics right now. Do you guys have any questions?
No.
Okay. What I want you to do is practice so you can ask questions if you need help. So there is a Math Excel assignment posted.